Welcome to the 83 podcast. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Darren.
And this is episode 17.
17. How the hell did we get to 17 episodes of this show?
Very slowly.
Very slowly.
But it's going to be another good one, Darren.
Oh, it's going to be a great one. It's going to be one that's going to fill your soul and your stomach with good stuff.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's start with some sports.
Yeah. So obviously we got a jam-packed show, but we'll start with sports because me and Jake, we love sports. And obviously it's really down to the two main sports that are currently finishing up their seasons in the NHL. Blues, Bruins, they'll be playing game 5. That series is tied at 2, going back to Boston. It's been a very yin and yang kind of series, hot and cold series. Game 3, Boston came out and just lit up Jordan Binnington and the St. Louis Blues, and they won like 7-2. It was a blowout. And then game 4, Blues came back and they won their first ever Stanley Cup playoff game, their Stanley Cup final playoff game at home, first time in team history. So that's good for them. Game 5 goes tomorrow, Thursday in Boston. And going to the NBA, we got to talk about those red hot Raptors.
Yeah, well, they're playing right now.
They're playing right now as we are recording this.
Game's on in the background, sir.
Exactly. Game 3 is on right now. Series tied at 1. And Jake, you had to love the atmosphere in Game 1, seeing Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of people lined up supporting Canada's only NBA franchise.
Yeah, and Game 2 looked really good until the wind just kind of got out of the Raptors' sails about into the second quarter, and it's like game was over. You could just tell these guys were just not playing as well as they could, and the team didn't have that support. And
it was kind of weird. Like, it's the second half of an NBA Finals game, first time ever, and then it looks like everyone wasn't even in their seats. I'm like, what are you doing, at the concession stand when you have an NBA Finals game going on?
At home.
At home.
It's
exactly.
Crazy.
Your first ever,
Yeah, exactly.
So now obviously they're on the road playing in the tough place of Oracle Arena in California. But they really have a chance to take back control of the series and go up 2-1. No Kevin Durant. They just said that Klay Thompson is not playing tonight, so two of their biggest weapons not in the lineup tonight. So
this is a must win.
This is a must win for Toronto. Yeah. They have to win this game, especially. Let's look at it this way. If you're a road team playing in a tough environment, playing 2 games, you want to win at least one. Get one win, come back home, and then you have home court for a make or break game 5. So there you go. So I'm expecting a big game from Kyle Lowry tonight because he needs to step up. Well, that first 2 games, he's been pretty quiet. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard is going to do what Kawhi does, but Kawhi can't do it all himself.
The whole team needs to step up, Game 1.
Exactly.
Everybody needs to contribute.
Game 1, Pascal Siakam was on fire. I've never seen him play that well.
He looked like a young Hakeem Olajuwon there at times. It was great.
He really did. So obviously, it's going to be a big test tonight as they tip the ball off right now. So we'll see what happens. Elsewhere, there's really nothing else going on.
There's some Lions news.
Yeah, there's a Lions news right now. Obviously, talking about training camps and they're still going into mandatory training camps, and still no sleigh, no snacks.
And what is your opinion? Because they're saying Damon Harrison are going to stay out of a holdout out of mandatory minicamp. Yeah. So what's your opinion on that? Because I have an opinion on it.
they gotta pay these guys. Slay's been your best cornerback ever since you drafted him. He's your only good cornerback. Give the man his money. He loves Detroit. He loves playing for this team, so might as well pay him. And Snacks,
Right, but they restructured his contract a couple years ago. He gets more money. He's
yeah,
almost as high as you can go as in his position. There's
right,
only so much you can give him. He's not that he's valuable, but not that valuable. So
true.
these guys already make decent amount of money. They were
Oh
restructured.
yeah,
They
oh
have
yeah.
decent contracts. You can only take so much. Remember, the more these guys take, the less money you have for everything else. And this team needs a lot more besides these two guys.
Oh, exactly. So that's what's going to happen. I think the big thing is getting Snacks Harrison under contract because he is easily one of the top 5 run stoppers in the entire league.
Right.
Safe to say. So, and, and you got him for a 5th round pick, which is unbelievable. So you got to do your best to lock him up.
Yeah, definitely.
Another controversial thing, and I want to get your thoughts on it. That
Hmm.
Calvin Johnson, Megatron, uh,
Yes.
the reason why he's still not on good terms with the Lions because the Lions still owe him money, and he says like we would be all good if they pay me that money.
Well, what
Does
it
that?
is this is my favorite player from the Lions, which
Yeah,
I'm not really liking right now because he's being a douche.
yeah,
And what I mean is he retired and severed his contract, therefore he had to forfeit I think about $1 million back to the Lions.
right.
So he wants that money back. Well,
Hmm.
if you think about it, he already made $100 million from this team. So you're gonna go that way over $1 million that well you ended your contract out of your
Exactly.
own choice, not the team ending its contract. So
Yeah,
as being my
exactly.
favorite player, I still got to look at it from that perspective that don't be an asshole. The team that gave you $100 million and a career, yeah,
Hmm.
fine, you guys didn't win anything, but you broke records. You're one of the best, one of the icons in this
Hmm.
team's history.
Yeah.
You can't hold out for, oh, they got to give me my money back. Well, technically, it was their money. So it's just a pain in the ass because I don't want to hear this shit.
You
He,
know,
he does so many good things in the community. It's like, why can't you just
exactly.
understand?
Yeah.
It's weird.
You hear this all the time, like you, when during the whole Barry Sanders things when he just abruptly retired.
Right.
That one was a little bit more wrapped in secrecy. This one is pretty like out in the open. Why
Exactly.
it says like we'll be good. Just pay me $1 million. I'm like, you've done the, like you said, Detroit gave him his career. He is the Lions' greatest receiver ever. I'm safe
He
to
is.
say,
Yeah.
and
Broke
and
records.
and like you're allowing the Lions not to like honor you, like put you up in the Ring of Honor or retire your jersey just over $1 million.
Exactly.
Really? Does that make any
Again, and
sense?
he's a millionaire.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
he's a multimillionaire.
Exactly.
So like for something like that to happen, hopefully they can, he'll shake his head right, and and they can fix this. But I love to see Calvin Johnson's name and number retired at Ford Field because that's
No,
where
that
he
would be. Yeah, no, that would be great.
that's where he
Exactly. He
deserves to
deserves
be.
it. But
He needs
yeah,
because he needs to be an ambassador for the Lions, like Barry Sanders is right now.
exactly. Exactly.
So,
And
uh,
don't be petty. Don't be
exactly.
don't be petty. That's just how
Jake,
it is.
Jake, he might be a future garbage person of the week.
If he keeps going the way he's going, yes, be
So,
guaranteed.
yeah, exactly. So, just one more Lions note I want to pass along. There's rumors, nothing's confirmed yet, that the Lions may be featured on HBO's Hard Knocks training camp. Would you
As
like to
much,
see? Would you like to see
yeah.
the Lions on Hard Knocks?
One, yes. Two, it's not going to happen because the other team in
Well,
contention is look at the other team that's in contention. That's definitely going to that has a good chance of doing it. It's the Raiders
yes.
with the personalities they have, with the attitudes they
Yeah.
have, all the drama that they have. That's
Yeah.
way more exciting than watching Matt Patricia and a moo and a pencil walking around the locker room, high fiving
but
people.
But
Matthew Stafford going all day.
but
It's way more exciting.
but I look at this and I look at if I'm a producer's point of view, and when you talk about like good stories, to tell, and you gotta like the story of Matthew Stafford, especially what his wife has gone through in the past couple months. That makes for compelling TV. Him.
It does, but that's not what the fans of the show will want to see. They'll want
I
to see the
yeah,
locker room drama, the players gritting it out, whatever else is
sure,
happening in the locker room.
but like
Personal story, I don't know. Lions are basically boring. That's what I'm trying to say.
but they make shows like this to shed light on teams that you would think are boring, but they're actually pretty interesting because they feature a lot of players who weren't drafted, undrafted free agents that you end up rooting for. That I hope he makes a team because the guy has such a great story. So like, and plus, I would love to see a lot more national spotlight shed on Detroit. You know,
That's true. That's true. Now, didn't we have an undrafted free agent tight end that we knew?
Oh,
Earlier? No, no, never mind.
they
No.
have multi tight ends, and
Did we try to get him on
well,
the show?
yeah, we'll try to get him on. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard he's a pretty good dancer.
No idea. I deleted him from Instagram.
He's banned.
Screw that
He's
shit.
banned from the
Banned.
show. He's banned. He's banned.
We have a ban.
So that's really pretty much it in sports. Next week,
Nice.
well, I'll tell you exactly who won Stanley Cup, who won the NBA Finals, because
And
we'll
how we
know
feel about that.
and how we feel, and if we care or not, and also the
Maybe.
Tigers still suck. So there you go.
Well, that is honest truth right there.
There you go. So that's sports.
Sports. All right. So you know what? I did take one for the ADG team this weekend.
Yeah.
And I saw the monstrosity of the Aladdin movie remake.
Arabian Nights.
Yeah, that except in Will Smith's voice.
Oh. Jake was like, stab me in the ear with a fork.
Yeah, there was a couple of songs I was like, well, he should not be singing. I'd feel better if he made it into a rap. But anyway, let's just go from this. Yeah, I took the fam, went to see it. Oh man, it was a long 2 hours. Now let's just say, from the start, I'm a big fan of the original, so I'm a little biased. Now, this one stayed true, but 80% to the original, so that was a good thing. They didn't venture too far away, story-wise. Actually, the story was exactly the same, but they didn't venture out too much away from the original. What stuck with me though is the dialogue. They tried too hard to be relevant to the current type of audience. So you would get some jokes from Will Smith cracking like, new age jokes that would be relevant now. And some of them were good, made me laugh. Some of them were like, I don't know. It was just it's a few moments he was being Big Willie style there for a bit. But the CGI was good. Actually, it didn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look. It was actually really well made. Music was the same as the original, just redone. The whole Will Smith singing 2 songs was like, nah, I could do without it. Entertaining, yeah, it had some moments. It was very, very colorful. I see why kids would go see it. The same storyline as the original. Nothing that would make me want to see this over the original, because I think Robin Williams was way more, pulled you into the story more, but Will Smith tried. But like I said, it's still too, they tried to bring it too into this, what I'm trying to say here is try to bring it to more relevance now than the old one was, and I don't think that worked very well. So I would definitely not rewatch it, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No, so there you go. So Jake, for being all negative towards it, it wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. I'd give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go, folks. If you're thinking about Aladdin, 2 out of 5 from
Right.
Mr. Jake.
That's right. So
make sure you tune in next week. Jake is going to go review Rocket Man. Big Elton John fan. Jake loves Elton John.
Elton John is awesome. And speaking of which, I did see him live in Vegas.
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Jake,
there was some expensive ass tickets.
Jake is a big Elton John fan.
I am. I really like Elton John. It's a great show. I think it was the Red Piano tour that we saw in Vegas because Celine wasn't there, and I'm definitely not going to see Celine Dion. I don't need that shit in my ear. But Elton John was like, hell yeah.
I love you.
Let's do this. Front row balcony still costs me like $300 a piece, but great show.
It's Elton John in Vegas.
He's insane. I'm actually going to see this movie, just not at the movie theater.
Yeah. No,
I don't have time for that. Godzilla came out. I got to go see Godzilla first.
Oh my God.
That's next. But anyway, from a negative review to a movie, let's talk about something 5 stars. Okay.
5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. Because our music feature for this week is actually an amazing artist. His name's Aaron Beri, and he's from Australia.
He's come from a land down under.
Right. Yes, but his history is kind of cool to look at because he was born in a northern English village, and like he would listen to like Aerosmith, Michael Jackson, and Dan Warren. So he had a good upbringing music wise. He was actually a model in New York City, a fashion model. He did a little bit of London Law School too, so he went to school for a bit. So this guy did a lot of stuff, but since he made it to Australia, he decided to put an album together, which is still in the works. And the first single off of it, it's called "Naked." Really great track, awesome video. Is what we're gonna feature today because as soon as he sent me a track because we communicated and stuff. I said, I'm like, I love this song. I want to feature you. He's like, no problem. Boom, boom, boom. Gave me a couple versions of it. I'm like, no, we're going to get the original version. I don't need the edited version. We don't do that. I want the real thing. So I get the real track from Aaron Beri of this title track, Naked, right here on the ADG podcast. Give it a listen. We'll share it on our pages. So here is Aaron Beri, Naked.
Take a moment to focus on what your body's saying. Look what you set in motion, way out of range. Look what you do. Nobody gets me like you. I only got eyes for you. Let's keep the good times rolling. Thinking about the way you move, and I'm sitting around figuring out how to get you nude. 'Cause I love it when you're naked with me. Love it when you're naked. I love it when you're naked with Couldn't let him keep taking your precious smile away. I had to take a stand, come in and save the day. All of that shit you've been through, you can leave it at the door. Leave it at the door. I don't wanna wait till it's over, and I wanna see you when I wake up. 'Cause there's no way I can fall any deeper. Oh baby, let's keep the champagne popping through the night. Thinking about the way you move, and I'm sitting around figuring out how to get you nude. 'Cause I love it when you're naked with me. Love it when you're naked. I love it when you're naked with me. Yeah. lip, I kiss you right now. Can't be hiding this, I want you all the time now. Look what you do. Look what you do, what you do. Nobody gets me like you. I only wanna dance with you. Let's keep the record spinning through the night. Thinking about the way you move. And I'm sitting around figuring out how to get you moved. 'Cause I love it when you're naked with me. Love it when you're naked. I love it when you're naked with me. Thinking about the way you make me move around, figuring out how to get you moved. 'Cause I love it when you're naked with me. Love it when you're naked. I love it when you're naked with me.
All right, so that was Aaron Beri, Naked. Again, we're going to post this with our show, this week's show, on our Facebook channel and Instagram, because Instagram is blowing up. And check him out. Awesome artist. You can see everything we just talked to you guys about him. It's all true. Like, you'll see the guy, he just did all the work. You know, he's really trying to get himself out there. Awesome artist, great sound. You know, we're trying to do some different sounds right here on the podcast, and got some R&B going. It's great. You know, branching out right here, Aaron. We're branching out.
We're branching out. We're, like you said, we're worldwide. You know, that's great. You know, we
are.
We can. It's great that we can connect with someone in Australia, play his music, because it just shows you how talented everyone is in the world. You know,
Yeah.
It's not just local.
We're not limited.
No, we're not limited. Like we're glad that we have amazing local talent here in Windsor and Essex County. But like, just think that like our little podcast is, you know, reach all the way to Australia. That's mind.
It's like the second time in our first season we've reached all the way to Australia.
Exactly. You know, so who knows? Maybe next season we get some Russian rap music. You know, who knows?
That would be my limits. But from talking movies and music, let's talk about my top 5 today.
Top 5.
Top 5. And we're going to generate our focus because our main surprise for our episode today is food related. I have a food top 5, Darren.
Food top 5. My favorite top 5.
So my list is top 5 food countries in the world. And I'm going to spin it in a way where these are the top foods, I'd say genres maybe, that you'll find pretty much anywhere you go. Very popular. A lot of people like these types of foods.
Okay, so if I'm traveling abroad, you know, I can always
anywhere you go. You go from
these foods.
Windsor, Toronto, you go to the States.
Yeah.
You go anywhere, you go abroad, Europe. These are some of the foods you're going to seek out. Yeah. And you're going to know there's something that you can find. These are the top 5 you find around the world.
Great.
Here we go. So at number 5, Indian food.
Mm.
Indian food's very popular because of the spices and the sauces, the curry. It's just everywhere. I love Indian food. I love yellow curry.
So you're a big spicy guy?
Not really.
No?
I like their flavors. I like the mix of flavors. It's really good stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So number 5 is the taste of India. Okay. Number 4, Spanish food.
Ole.
That's right. Now, this is going to be a little confusing because Spanish food, if you think about it, has a lot of different things, a lot of seafood, A lot of mushroom dishes in the Spanish cuisine. Olive oil is 90% olive oil is made in Spain, so they use a lot of olive oil in their food. So that's something that's really popular, and be surprised how much that influences other cuisine. But it also travels into my number three. Number three, Mexican cuisine.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I
That
love
is
me
tacos and
some
burritos.
tacos and
Right.
some like real. We're talking about real Mexican, not
Real. See, the same? No, not Taco Bell.
not
No,
the stuff at Taco Bell. No, the
no.
real deal. You
We got to
like
remember, yeah, it's African and Asian people inspired Mexican cuisine. You know what I mean? Like it's the way it is now, and then they just,
exactly.
so that's very popular. You know, nice, fresh. Number two, no surprise to anybody, French cuisine.
Oh yes, the baguette.
I'm sure there's more than that.
I'm sure there's more. I just like saying the word baguette.
I guess.
Baguette.
And it's usually it's very fancy. They make things in a creative way.
Yeah.
Can be.
But,
They make it creative. It's
yeah,
always a lot of butter. We know the
oh,
butter's what it is.
but
So
it's not just like that they have are certain dishes, just the way that they prefer that they perfect foods like French breads and French cheeses,
the presentation of it too. Yeah.
And presentation, of course. A friend of mine who is a chef always told me you eat with your eyes first. So
Yes. Well, I no comment on that. Okay. And number one.
See a take? No, I just shoved it in my mouth as fast as I could.
Yeah. No comment. Number one is something you and I agree on.
Yeah.
I know it. Before even asking you, I know you and I agree on this.
Polish
and
food?
It's going to lead into our interview. And number one food around the world that everybody can find, and it's number one country in the world for having the best food, Italian food.
Oh yes, without a doubt. Without
so many
a shadow
varieties.
of a doubt.
Right. So
anywhere from like the pizza to the pasta to the different regions that have signature dishes.
Right.
Italian food from all over Italy. Not you don't have to go to like Rome or Venice or Sicily for the best Italian food. Italian food is the best Italian food is everywhere. Everyone does
exactly.
The same dishes differently. They use different spices. They use different meats, sauces, etc., etc.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, it's most popular because you can find it everywhere. Yeah. It's everywhere. Yeah. So our top 5 would be Indian, Spanish, Mexican, French, and Italian. Now, why are we doing a top 5? There's a couple honorable mentions here, and no, it's not American. Not American. It's not
did Canadian food make the list? Did Canadian
absolutely
food
not. Oh. No maple syrup here.
What? No love for the
Polish food didn't make it either, but and I love it. So I know, bummed out.
I would kill for a pierogi right now.
Don't even tell me that, because the Carousel Nations is coming up.
Yes.
And I'm making my schedules.
Okay.
The wife's sending me like my updates, like this one's coming up. This one's coming up. So I'm just like adding, like, okay, this German, like, Polish.
We're going. Yeah,
like,
the German,
Greek,
the Polish one, the
Greek one,
obviously, yeah.
So it's gonna be crazy. I'm so fat this month. I have vacation coming up. I'm eating.
That's why people like. That's why when I work out so I can eat. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I work out while eating.
That's about it. Well,
someone's got to lift these plates of food.
And 1 and 2 and bite.
That's right. So I do crunches. Left hand, right hand.
There you go.
Okay, well, yeah. And there you go. Italian food leads us to our next topic.
All right. So on the topic of food, we have an amazing special guest with us here on this week's edition of the ADG podcast. If you follow her on Facebook, Instagram, so anywhere on social media, the name Cooking with Nonna. Well, the lady behind Nonna is Rossella Rago, or Rago. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
It's Rago, and I think
Rago?
that's the first time anyone's referred to me as a lady, and I'm like shocked right now.
All right,
Like
already
I'm
off to a
about to
good
turn
start.
32, and I can't believe I'm a lady.
You are a lady. That's right. Yes.
Oh boy.
Usually I always screw up the intro, so we're gonna keep this one.
It's okay.
Yes, we are keeping that. I'm not doing that.
I guess 32 is when a girl becomes a lady.
Yeah, I'm the same age as you, so I think it's a sign of respect if I call you a lady.
I'm not revealing mine if that's what we're doing, people.
So so if you follow her on Facebook, Instagram, her videos with her charming Nonna are just heartwarming. So Rossella, before we get into your relationship with your grandmother, how did you get into the whole atmosphere of like wanting to be in the kitchen and want to be a chef and want to create such delicious meals?
So, I mean, I never really aspired to be a chef or anything. I actually didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated high school. I think like many people that graduate high school today, in 2005, when I graduated high school, I think people knew even less what they wanted to do. So I went to college, to St. John's University, and I majored in secondary education and Italian literature. And that was kind of what everyone in my neighborhood did when they didn't know what the hell to do with their lives. Like they would just become young women would become Italian teachers, because I could already speak Italian, because being first generation Italian American, my parents taught me Italian as a first language, actually. And I said, okay, I'll do that, and then maybe I'll figure it out. And then when I was between my my sophomore and junior year, I was about 19, 20 years old. My dad said to me one night, because I was living with my nonna Romana, because nice Italian girls do not dorm. If you guys didn't know that,
Absolutely.
Dorm. It was a bad situation. So I shared a bedroom with my nonna Romana from 2003. Oh my gosh. I mean, the entire length of college, for the entire 4 years of college, I shared a bedroom with her. And I was living there, and I was cooking every day because she cooked every day. And one night my dad Vito came over and he asked me, Rossa, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to host a cooking show because that's the greatest job in the world. And I had no idea how ridiculous that sounded as that left my mouth, because my whole life I had kind of moonlighted as an actress. My mom is an actress. My mom was in the film Sleepers with Brad Pitt, Robert De Niro. I had always been around the entertainment business, but even before she was a film actress, she had a prolific theater career. So it just came out of my mouth. I was like, I'm going to be I want to host a cooking show. And a few seconds later, he started laughing. And then my grandma started laughing. And then a week later, he bought the web domain, cookingwithnonna.com. And then we just started trying some stuff. I mean, we really didn't know what the hell we were doing. I can't even emphasize enough that when I started out, there was no Instagram. There was barely YouTube. Content creators were not the same as they are today. So we really just started the process of how to become content creators. And we launched in June of 2009. So we are coming up on our 10-year anniversary very, very soon. So it's really exciting to see the community that we built out of Cooking with Nonna.
A quick question to follow up on that. Now, do you see there's an advantage of doing it your way, being a content creator and having this online empire? Is that an advantage to, seeing things just appearing and disappearing on TV?
Totally. I mean, listen, if I could write a book about all the times that I was almost on TV in a major capacity. Like I could really write about all the times that I had a manager, I had an agent, or I had someone who brokered a deal that was going to get me my own show on this network or that network or whatever. But at the end of the day, you are the master of your own destiny when you are a content creator. I decide what nonna I shoot with and what recipe that I do and how I convey it and what language I use um and I have complete control over my content. And what a lot of people don't realize is that most people on the Food Network really don't have that luxury. It's
That's
very,
true.
very this
Continue. Continue. Go
magical
ahead.
medium to work with, but it's not really the case. I mean, apart from the massive exposure, the quality of your work is much better controlled when you are the one behind it.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
another thing, I have to mention this because I was not familiar with you until my mother showed me your channel, and I would have to say she's a big fan of yours and all your videos and everything. She always messages in the comment section. So she's a big fan of yours. So she wanted me to tell you that before anything else.
Oh,
Um,
great. Yeah, you're not as much my demographic as
no, no.
probably your mother is. So
Oh, exactly. Because
doesn't offend me at all.
no, no, no. I totally get it. But like I pick up little things that you make or your grandmother makes that what my grandmother used to make, and that's what the big thing is that like oh I don't remember it like new age Italian cooking, but I remember the old school way, and I think a lot of people who had their grandparents watch them while their parents were working. You know, the Italian grandmother in the kitchen, you know, preparing lunch and dinner and all that stuff. All those recipes come back to you. It's kind of like a whirlwind of nostalgia through food.
So that's actually really interesting because I just had a call with someone like it in the industry about what they want me to do next. And what they want me to do next is kind of like, you know, are you sure you want to keep doing this like slow food, slow way of cooking? Maybe you want to do something a little bit more cutting edge. Maybe you want to like, do like a keto cookbook or like an
Right.
Instapot cookbook. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you guys want from me? Like, I'm a Nona girl. Like, I can't
Right.
just,
Yeah.
I've never used an Instapot. I don't have an Instapot. Like, the Nonas don't have Instapots. I can't help you with that. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to make a kale salad and tie it to a Nona? It's really not possible. There's no story. Like, what do you want?
That's
So I
great.
kind of really am a champion for this way of cooking because to me, these things are all fads. Like, I still don't have a microwave. My mother said the microwaves were going to kill us all. So I wasn't allowed to cook with microwaves. I wasn't allowed to cook with Instapots or anything. So I really maintain this slow, natural way of cooking. And I do believe that no matter what, everybody goes back to basics. And even if you use an Instapot 5 days a week, there are 2 days a week that you don't, and that you want to cook something that your nonna used to cook. You want to
Right.
cook something that brings you back.
Mhm.
And I really hold firm to those traditions because they're our traditions. And if we don't keep them up, everybody forgets.
Absolutely.
That's
No,
true.
I think that's very well said. I'm not too sure, Rosella, what part of Italy are you from?
So my entire family, my mom, my dad, my nonna, my husband's entire family is from the same village.
Oh,
I
wow.
know.
Oh wow.
Pause for reaction. Everyone. So,
It's, you know what?
but
It's a lot more common than you think. I must
it's
say.
Yes.
it's not so crazy because we've
Uh,
all come from this one little place called Mola di Bari
okay.
in the heel of Italy in
Okay.
Puglia, and
Uh-huh.
it's on the Adriatic coast. It's a little fishing village. But when everybody immigrated to the United States, everybody immigrated to the same area in Carroll
Hmm.
Gardens, Brooklyn. And
Hmm.
then they immigrated from Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn to the same area in Bensonhurst. So everybody kind of knew each other. So it wasn't really that crazy that we all kind of stuck together.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's great. No, we have here in Windsor in Essex County, we have the Chicharo Club, and basically that membership is always filled because a lot of people from the Chicharo region are living here in Windsor. So that's not,
like Chochado, like from the Sophia Loren movie, Two Women.
Yeah, our family is from the Frosinone region, the Calvi area.
Oh, incredible! In my latest book, Cooking with Nonna Holidays, I actually have a fabulous Nonna from that area. Her name is Nonna Anita, and she told some amazing stories about, how they had to kind of flee because of the Germans and everything, and how it wasn't, all like hearts and flowers and everything, but she has insane memories from that time period. I have like this one photo of her in the traditional Chochada dress with the sandals and everything, and she just has such amazing memories from that time of her life. But she settled in the Jersey City area.
Okay, all right. So that's good. So if I'm ever in the Jersey City area, I'll have a relative somewhat.
Yeah, just ring her bell, and she'll be like really receptive.
You want to play the pasta? Come on in. Okay.
Yeah. Like okay. I know the Cooking with Nonna girl, and she'll be like,
okay, yeah. No, yeah. So speaking of which, you and Nonna have done 2 books. Is there a third on the way?
So the books are actually a product of myself, my Nonna, and around 24 other Nonnas that have contributed recipes. It's not just me and my Nonna. My Nonna's on the cover because, she's my Nonna and she's Beyonce. But I actually include many Nonnas in when I do my books. Is a third on the way? I really hope so. We're kind of in discussions about it. I think people really like the concept, and I just hope so. I hope that I get to write another book because I've been really blessed. The way I got discovered in terms of publishing is kind of the way that like a supermodel gets discovered at like McDonald's. So I don't take anything for granted. The only reason that I'm a published author and not someone else that is more talented than me is that I am lucky. Like I really thank God every single day for what he has given me, because I've been much more fortunate than other people are.
Well, that's speaking of that, you're doing a lot of different things. You're branched out a lot. I see you have culinary tours that you did last year. You just won a taste award in February.
I did.
So that's just more than being a publisher. You're doing a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really bad because I've been doing the tours for 6 years, actually. I won a taste award last year. It was my first taste award. It got kind of eclipsed because I got married. And when an Italian girl gets married, it's like a big deal. So even like, I won a taste award in LA. Not a big deal. I got married. I had a shower. I had a wedding. I had all these things in the past 30 days. So forgive me. Like I'm kind of like adjusting to this new wife life.
Yes.
I took it a little bit seriously because I am a true Italian American, and I've discovered that 95% of marriage is just asking your husband, what do you want for dinner? So
that's great.
We're approaching the
awesome.
30-day anniversary in 3 days.
Oh,
so
boy.
It's a big
I'm
thing.
still fresh.
Very.
So
got a long way to go.
Exactly. Jake, who is married to an Italian, he knows about that. That's right. That's why.
It's like, why don't you guys just say what you want for dinner? Why does it have to be this like dramatic guessing game that takes 6 hours?
It's more fun that way, and we like being yelled at, and with the hand gestures, we love that. That's what attracts us to
It's just
Italian.
like I'm just gonna show up at your work and be like, what do you want for dinner? Like gesticulating.
Well, you say that, Rossella. Now, is he pretty, like, when you ask him, what do you want for dinner? Does he give you an answer? Or is a lot of hum and a ha?
No,
like, I don't know. What do you?
It's very vague. Most of the times, it's just a very vague. Like, I don't know. What do you want? And then like, what do you? But okay, I want this XYZ. No, I don't want XYZ. Well, what do you want?
Throw one of your cookbooks at him. Just like pick something.
Yeah, you would think that would be easy, but I still struggle. The struggle is real, is my point, for every woman everywhere.
Exactly. I just want to get back to what we talked about. You got other recipes from other nonnas. How did you reach out to the? Are these all your friends' nonnas, or the other members of the families and their nonnas?
So I get this question a lot, and the way that I find nonnas is usually pretty organic. In the beginning, in the very, very beginning of Cooking with Nonna, my mom, who was an actress, a playwright, everything, very, very social person, would just kind of reach out into her big bag of friends and pull out like a nonna for me. But when I started writing the books, it would be more specific. It would be more like, I need a nonna that can make this. So we would kind of put the word out there, and then through word of mouth, just, I can't really describe it in any other way as if other than it was very organic. And I would say, I need a nonna to make the best parmigiana, or the best ciambella, the best lasagna. And I would find them because they would kind of find me. So I kind of always leave it that way. Like just yesterday, I needed a nonna to make this one Sicilian dish that was like a combination of fava beans and artichokes and peas. It's a Sicilian thing. And I asked my friend, whose mother-in-law is very Sicilian. She's not even Sicilian. Her mother-in-law is Sicilian. I was like, your mother makes this? Yeah, I'm coming over. And and I like go over there and I watch her and I write about it. I don't always film it because it's just, it's not easy for me to film everything all the time. I wish it really was, but it's easy for me to go there and to experience it and to write about it. And I feel like that's my strongest medium.
Exactly.
So now, following on that, you watching nonnas cook and learning from it. My mother-in-law, old school, straight from Italy. They're from Calabria, and I got into it. I've been with my wife for now 15 years, and I go there for Sunday dinner all the time.
Oh, God bless you! I'm working 15 hours over
here. We've had a lot of dinners over there, and I cook, and I like to copy certain things, and some things I can get on the block and make a good lasagna. I see how they do it. I copy it, add my way to it. It's perfect. But do you find, like I do, certain things you just can't replicate that they do? Even as you do the same ingredients, same way of doing it, and it still doesn't come out exactly the same.
150%. I mean, in my last book, I had this fantastic, beyond words, amazing human being. Her name was Nonna Laura. She was 93 years old, and she lived in Astoria, and she was from the Abruzzo area. And she made this one cake, like a chiffon cake, like a chiffon cake. I don't expect you guys to know exactly the ins and outs of a chiffon cake, but a chiffon cake is like whipped really, really well until it's super airy and stuff, and then it's baked in this angel food pan. It's supposed to be super high with the hole in the middle, like a bundt cake pan and stuff. So when I went to her basement in Astoria, it was absolutely magical. She had a vintage Coca-Cola bottle that she would like turn the cake over on and rest it on and stuff. And she gave me her mixer that had like a 12 horsepower engine. I don't even know. This mixer had like a Ferrari engine, you guys. Like, I have no other words. It was so powerful.
It's probably souped up by Tim Taylor. I don't know.
I don't even know what this mixer was, but she was like, okay, you got to beat the eggs 10 minutes. So you got to beat the other stuff 10 minutes. I was like, okay. And I did it. And then we like baked it and it came out perfect. I tried it at home 17 times, came out awful. I don't know what to tell you. There is some magic that only works in her basement in Queens that makes this cake work. I could not make it work. I felt so bad. I couldn't put it in the book because it didn't work. And, that is my life, basically.
Oh, jeez. So I'm not alone in this. That's awesome.
Things are only, I do have, the sixth sense that is the Nonna magic. And some things only work by the Nonna magic. What do you want me to tell you?
That's awesome. Okay, good. So a professional admits that it's not me.
No. No, there is such a thing as the Nonna magic. And,
awesome.
Maybe I'll have it one day, but I don't have it now. And if certain ladies have their own, unless she was leaving something out, then I don't know about. Some of them do that.
You make it good, but you're missing something. But I'm not going to tell you that.
Some of them do that once in a while. Not all of them. Most of the ones that I've worked with have honestly been very, very good and very honest about how they make things. But there really is that just X factor that not everyone can quantify.
Absolutely, you're right. My grandmother, who passed away a few years ago, she used to make pina, which is also Easter bread. If those of you don't know, and
sure,
So she would always make it every Easter, before her health turned on her. But she would make it every year, and my mother kind of took up the mantle of making that every Easter, and it was good. But like you said, it wasn't the same. Like you said, the Nonna magic. Obviously, it was good. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as hers. So I think every generation who tries to learn the same recipe is a little bit different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but it's not always a bad thing.
No.
The fact that you can't get something exactly like someone else's is not necessarily a bad thing. I always tell people, you're you, and you're going to have your own spin on something, and your grandchildren will say, gee, I can't get this to taste just like my nonnas. Mm-hmm. So it all evolves, is what I'm saying. Everything evolves. Our cooking evolves. Our traditional recipes, no matter what, evolve. Because a recipe is a recipe. You can write down a quantity. You can write down an amount. You can write down a step or whatever. But, it really, cooking just always depends on the air that day, the weather that day, the vibe in the air, the energy. It really is about that. And a lot of people don't think that it is, but it is. If it's
the amount of wine on the table.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having a great day and you're having fun, you're having good energy, everything comes out good. But then there are those days where nothing comes out good. And it's not because you didn't follow a step or you use a different ingredient or whatever. It's just one of those days.
Oh, absolutely. So we have a fun question lined up for you, and you obviously being well advanced in different recipes and different dishes. If you could pick one dish to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Eggplant parmigiano with mozzarella in it, the way my grandmother makes it.
Nice. That's
good answer.
You know what? You answered that very fast. So obviously, have you had that question before? Or?
No hesitation.
I get that question a lot. What's your favorite thing? But that's pretty much my favorite thing on the planet. It gets a lot of pushback from purists that insist that the only way to make a parmigiana is the Neapolitan way with no meat in it, and but the pugliese way with the thick batter, the battered eggplant, and the layered mozzarella and all that. That's what I want. That's what I want. If I'm going to the electric chair, that's what I want.
that's your final meal. I got you.
And on that note, there is a main place to find you online for all of our listeners, and it's cookingwithnonna.com.
Yeah,
what can you tell us? It's a beautiful website, by the way.
Thank you.
A lot of good links on there.
We're constantly redoing it. We just opened a brand new Shopify website that is labottegadellanonna.com, where we try and sell, some of the ingredients, because I developed some. I'm super fortunate to live in the Brooklyn area. My husband, God bless him, is a purveyor of Italian food products. So I'm fortunate to cook with a lot of stuff that is not available all over the country. So we just opened La Bottega della Nonna that has most of the food products, hard to find food products, if you live in Idaho or whatever, that you can find and make your recipes super Italian style. But cookingwithnonna.com, I'm at Rossella Rago on Instagram, and I am Cooking with Nonna on Facebook, where we have our largest following, actually.
Wow. So you do also a lot of book signings for your cookbooks. Is there any chance you're going to be coming to the Windsor area? Because I know there's a lot of Italians that would love to meet you.
In Canada?
In Canada.
Yeah. Actually,
right across from Detroit.
My brother used to live in the Windsor, Ontario area.
Whereabouts?
He used to live in Windsor, Ontario, and now he lives on Vancouver Island with his lovely wife that is from Vancouver, that is from New Westminster, Vancouver. I actually go to Canada quite a bit. I actually went to Canada for the first time for like a press tour in this past November, which was amazing. We went to Toronto. We didn't go to Windsor to Ontario, but we went to Toronto is in Ontario, no?
Yes, it is.
Yes, but we didn't go to Windsor. But we got to go to Listen, I don't make the rules over here. Like, go where they tell me to go. Like, but going to Canada,
they just tell you where to go and where to show up.
But it was such an incredible experience. Let me tell you. I mean, just the warmth that we felt in Canada. It was so cold outside, guys, but inside it was so friggin' warm. Like, everybody was like, Rossella, Nonna, come over to our house tonight. No, come over to our house tonight. When we got to the airport, like, Nonna was in a wheelchair, and this one lady, her name was Francesca, and she was like, Nonna Romana, like, she just knew Nonna, and she was like, non ti preoccup. It felt like Brooklyn in the 90s.
Right.
It really felt like that sense of italianità that we don't have anymore here in Brooklyn. And it makes me very sad to say that, but we don't have it anymore. But in Toronto, Canada, you do have that. In Canada, I feel as a country, you kind of do still have that.
We still do have that locally.
That mentality of we're Italian and you're Italian and we're going to take care of you.
That's right.
And it was incredible. It was such an incredible experience. Like, honestly, I went through the TSA, and I had to open my entire luggage. They said, open this luggage, and I had a book there, and I signed the book on the TSA line, and I passed it through to her, and I said, Francesca, please take this from the bottom of our heart, because in America, nobody would do that anymore for us.
Right.
It was such a meaningful thing.
There were still little differences between us and the U.S. a little bit still.
Yeah, I'm shocked, and I'm in awe of how well Canadians have held on to that. Even now in 2019, where everything is so crazy. I mean, I'm so grateful for the changes in technology, but things just seem so crazy. They're less simple. They're just less pure than they used to be. I mean, I used to live around the corner from 18th Avenue, and I used to walk on 18th Avenue and hear 7 different dialects on the corner, and feel like I was in Italy. And we don't have that anymore. And in Canada, you kind of still have that, and I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing about Italian Canadians. We're a little bit more warmer, a little bit more receptive in keeping our culture the same as it was back in the old country. So that's why you see a lot of like different restaurants and little shops and places like that still do it the Italian way, the way that they were brought up.
You know, I think it's because you're farther away. I think because like you're farther away and you appreciate it more, you know?
It may be cold here, but we're warm with love, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
no,
that's
absolutely.
what it comes down to.
I love Canada. I love my Canadian following. We have a huge following in Canada. I'm so grateful for everyone that follows us up in Canada. Like it's so amazing to see. I mean, you know, number one is always the East Coast, like the New York area, but number 2 is always Canada. Number 3 is always Australia, which amazes me beyond anything because it's so far away. But
exactly.
It's incredible to see that like the power of Nonna has reached people in places that you just would never really expect.
Absolutely. Just one last thing. Did you ever think that your Nonna Romana would be such this big viral celebrity?
No, of course not. Not really. I don't think she ever, even now that she doesn't expect it either. She doesn't get it when I try and put it to her in numbers, you know, Nonna, you got 300,000 likes or this or that or whatever. It makes no sense to her. When I got married, the designer that designed her dress, you know, reposted her, and it was a really nice little deal. She just had no idea what the hell that meant. Like, She has no concept of this. She lives very much on in her own little world on West 6th Street and Avenue O on that corner, and she just doesn't let it get to her. She appreciates it. Like, she loves that people watch her and that she's helping me watching, like, through them watching her, she feels like she's helping me grow. And I think that's where she feels happy, because, like she says, tutta nella mia vita è per i figli e per i nipoti. Everything in my life is for my kids and for my grandkids.
That's beautiful.
She really appreciates if something can help us, if something can make us grow, like our business or whatever. But in terms of like wanting to be famous, she has no concept of that. She has no idea how many people know who she is.
And I think that's the beauty of technology and social media these days, where you can introduce this whole new world to the older generations, which they have never could comprehend before.
Absolutely. I mean, now she calls her sister in Italy on WhatsApp, and it's like magic. It's incredible to her. Like, it's really beautiful to see, because when we go live, especially I go live a lot from her basement apartment where I used to live in, and she's really when I try and tell her like how many people are watching at this time, she's like, oh my God, but like I don't think she realizes like 1,000 people are watching you right now. Like I don't think she knows what 1,000 people even looks like.
It's wild. It always brings joy to me when I see the older generation, like, you know, they're like a little kid when it comes to all this brand new technology. It's great.
Yeah, but she's really supernatural and super sweet and wonderful. Even when I take pictures of her, she knows, like, you know, do I put my pearl necklace on? Do I like? So she knows. She starts to understand certain things, but it's very interesting to see that effect on someone so much older, you know, and so much wiser in so many ways, but to see still the social media effect on them.
That's exactly. Well, Rossella, we want to thank you for joining us on the ADG podcast. Congratulations on your success so far. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more to come. Like Jake said, you can check her out at cookingwithnonna.com, Instagram, Rossella Rago, where you can find all her latest videos and information about her books, her cooking tours, everything. You can find it out there. Rossella, any last things you want to say before we end it?
Just stay hungry, everybody.
Perfect. Well said.
Perfect. Very good. Starving right now.
There you go.
Go eat some pasta,
always.
guys. Go call your
That's
wife.
all it is.
Tell her
That's
what
all
you
we
want
got
for dinner.
That's all we got. Pasta all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That was a great
pleasure.
Thank you for showing up. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, Darren, that was fun.
That was a great interview.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so hungry.
I know.
Starving.
Exactly.
All right. Now, let's finish this off with Garbage Person of the Week. Now, this is going to be a little surprising because how we talk about our Canadian basketball team. Real happy boy they made it, but
our one and only Canadian basketball team.
Yes. My Garbage Person of the Week is the Garbage Person of the Week for several reasons. So let's explain them. Drake, Garbage Person of the Week, because, well, you're starting shit and you're not even on the court. You're a fan with a lot of access to the team.
Yeah.
Let me put it nice and simply for you. If Toronto was not in the playoffs, you would be wearing a Golden State jersey. If Toronto and Golden State weren't in the playoffs, you'd be wearing a Milwaukee or another team's jersey still at the game.
Right.
If any other team was in the finals, you would be wearing that team's jersey. Your closet is like the thrift shop of jerseys, of throwbacks and current. You are the biggest bandwagon fan in the world. And there's proof of that online. So for you to be all Mr. Toronto, I don't buy it. Because as soon as if Golden State wins, how quick is that jersey gonna swap for photo ops?
Exactly.
Mr. Drake came up from the bottom of Shoppers Drug Mart. Is this week's garbage person of the week?
That's fantastic. That's a great way. That's a great way how you wrapped it up. Just one thing I want to add is that if you have a guy that's so dedicated to the Raptors and the Six and the OVO, whatever his clothing line is or whatever he markets, and you have tattoos, permanent tattoos on your arm with Stephen Curry's and Kevin Durant's numbers. Who does that? Who does that? Like, I understand they're your friends and they're your boys that you know, not in a basketball capacity, but like they showed a picture of him wearing like a armband over that, covering them up. But we all know you have them.
Yeah, I would recommend our previous show with about laser removal of facial tattoos.
Yeah,
applied some of that shit.
Exactly. And a couple of episodes we talked about the Drake curse, right?
Yes.
Him being at the Leafs game and the Leafs lost. The Drake curse struck again. I don't know if you're aware of this, Jake. There was a huge boxing match that took place in Madison Square Garden on the weekend.
That's right.
On the past Saturday. Anthony Joshua, the reigning heavyweight champion of the world, from England, comes over from England to fight in America's first ever American match on American soil, going up against this short, little, pudgy Mexican fighter. Who is a
3-time world champion. He has 3 belts.
Yeah. No, he didn't. I think he only had 1 belt. I think
he just. Oh, okay. Well, he won all. He has 4 now.
He has 4 now because he knocked this guy out. It was unbelievable.
4 times. He knocked him down 4 times. I just watched the fight.
And they call him the Mexican Rocky Balboa, which I thought was hilarious. Okay.
When I watched the fight, and this guy is just swinging. He's just swinging.
He was coming after him like a bulldog.
Yeah, he's just swinging. Nothing technical about him. He's just going out there and just swinging.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. It was an interesting fight.
But you see it. Like tell me that wasn't Apollo Creed and Rocky going at it. Because the Joshua guy, he was 6'5", and he had the reach, he had the height, he had everything.
Yeah,
and then this short little chubby guy was just coming in, just hitting them with combinations and then knock him down.
That's true. That's true.
It was honestly one of the most entertaining. Exactly, it was one of the most entertaining boxing matches I've seen in a long, long time. I can't wait to see that.
And speaking of the Drake curse, to finish this off, hopefully those tattoos on his arm come to bite him, and Toronto actually wins. And game 7.
Yeah, exactly. I know this is gonna be out of date by the time that we release this episode, but Toronto's currently up 30-21. So we'll see what happens. They're off to a good start. We'll see.
Very good, very good.
Oh, well, this was a fun episode. This episode made me hungry. So.
Yeah, I know, right? It's all right. So for the ADG podcast, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Darren.
And we are ADG.